Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to this first edition in 2022 of Turnaround Marriage Live. We're so excited that you're joining us today. And we're going to be talking about today something that is near and dear to probably a lot of hearts out there as we're kicking off the new year. And that is the season of resolutions. And we're going to talk about today the fact that resolutions often don't work and what's actually going to be better, whether we're talking about you as an individual or we're talking about your marriage or we're talking about your family. We're going to give a much better path of success for you guys today.
Yes. Hey, everybody. We are Scott and Rachel. Happy New Year. And we help committed Christian couples finally end the cycles of conflict and disconnection and reclaim the love, passion, and playfulness that they once had. And so we're excited to kick this off for the new year. And so if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit the little bell and subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. We are here to help strengthen your Christian marriage. If you're watching on Facebook, say hello, give us a thumbs up so we know you're there. And yeah, we're talking about why resolutions don't work. Of course, we all have the jokes that everybody says that the gyms are full the first week of January, and then after that they taper off. Right. So we're talking about any type of goal, whether it's a fitness goal, a personal goal, a goal for your marriage or your family, any of those types of goals or resolutions, I should say. Often we want to set them and we're like, oh, the new year's here. Let's do it. Things are going to be different. We're on a fresh start. And by my birthday, which is like the second day of the year, often like we're already like saying, well, it was too well, we'll do it next year. Well, it's okay. Well, and we make up our excuses, right? So yeah, we're going to be diving into that today.
Yeah. And guys, as Rachel was saying, like as far as like whether we're talking about those personal goals, but maybe even for your marriage, like you were committed to those resolutions. Like we're just not going to fight anymore this year. We're just going to be much more kind. We're going to be more intentional about having dates. Whatever it would be in terms of your marriage, especially, you had like those good intentions, you had those resolutions, and you said, oh, we're going to do things differently. And maybe you've already begun to slip back. Maybe you realize in the past you've made those resolutions, like we're never going to do that stuff again. And you slip back and here you are. Maybe it's even worse now than it's ever been. Our point now is to certainly not to make people feel worse, but really to talk about a path that could be better than that. But let's just share why we think, first of all, that resolutions, in particular New Year's resolutions, often just don't work. And the number one reason that stands out to us is we've not locked in a pattern and a belief that will get us to where we want to go. Mm-hmm. In other words, oftentimes resolutions are just like, well, I'm just going to lose some weight. Well, it's so nebulous. It's so unclear. There's no real reason why behind it. And we often see that the statistics don't lie, that people quit really quick.
Yeah.
Like a quarter of the people that make New Year's resolutions quit within 6 days. 60% of them quit within 6 months. And hear this, 93% of them quit entirely within that first year. So guys,
staggering.
It is staggering. And so for a lot of people, it's like you have good intentions, but you've not really locked in the pattern, like with the habits. You've not really made that part of your routine. It's been here. It's not been in your heart. It's not been something you've been feeling and something you've been deeply committed to. And going right along with that is the belief. Oftentimes the belief is, I'm really, really, really going to try. And if I fail, oh, well. And people really try hard. And then it's really hard to hit the snooze button, or not to hit the snooze button. Or, boy, I really didn't want to fight very much, but she's really pushing my buttons right now. Whatever it would be, whatever button is being pushed in that moment. That's really one of the key reasons, guys. The second reason is this. So many times we are familiar with failure. We know what it's like to fail. And so it's very interesting. If you look at the statistics, the generations that are worse at New Year's resolutions are not the young people that you would think, oh, they don't have enough life experience. Not the youngest generations. They're the ones that probably are not going to have much commitment. No. In actuality, the older the generation, the less likely they are to keep their new resolutions. Why? Why is that? Because those that are older have been around the block a few more times and they're used to the failure. They've been there before. They've had the resolutions and it didn't work. And so unless you have a new pattern, the pattern is going to be the default of failure.
Yeah, because we tend to focus on the negative anyway. Like our mindset is just, the default is to see what's wrong with the picture, to see what's not working, to see what I don't want. And in fact, that's what most people do. They live their life focusing on the things that they don't want, instead of focusing on what they do want. And what's interesting with the older generations, it's almost like the mindset is locked in, and the beliefs are locked in. It's like, well, you can't teach an old dog new trick. And that brings us to that third reason. It's like, well, the third reason is you lack a strong why. You know what I mean? If you don't have a strong why of why you want to do something, like, well, I just want to lose some weight, or I just want to like really become healthier, or I just want to really start reading more. Like, none of those have any energy behind them. None of them have any power. None of them have any gumption, so to speak. Yeah. And so they don't drive us. They don't drive us. And if we don't have a strong why, then why are we doing it? And we'll lose motivation really quick. You know what I mean? And so you've got to have a strong why, and you've got to know what you want, and you've got to know, why do you want it? Go deeper. Why do you want what you want? And is it just to make more money, or is it just to not fight anymore? Or is it just to be able to fit into your skinny jeans, right? What is it that you really want?
I don't want to fit into skinny jeans.
I don't want you to fit into skinny jeans.
I'd want to fit into skinnier jeans, but not skinny jeans.
Yes. If you wear skinny jeans and you're a guy, hey, that's your thing. That's okay. Just not this guy. Yeah. But yeah, you got to have a strong why.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so important. And the other piece of that we think it should be more obvious, is that we lack accountability. Like, how many people actually even tell anyone else what their New Year's resolution is? Oftentimes spouses don't even share it with each other.
Yeah.
So there is a lack of accountability. How can anyone hold your feet to the fire? How can anyone help remind you unless someone's holding you accountable? It's so important.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons why we don't want to be held accountable is we're afraid of failure. It goes back to that other one. It's like, if I tell and then I don't do it, then they're going to know. They're going to know I don't follow through my word. They're going to know I can't follow through and do what I say I'm going to do.
It's so true. Somebody wise said to me a number of years ago, people do what you inspect and not what you expect. And that's a very true thing. If you're a business owner, or even in the context of the church, people do what you inspect. In other words, when you keep people accountable, that's when they really act. That's when they really move. Yeah. And so it's really important that we have accountability. If there's no accountability, you're pretty much doomed to fail with your resolutions.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Accountability, the accountability piece is huge. It really can drive the statistics of how successful you will be at keeping what it is that you want to do for the new year. And so, and let's talk about for our context, the context of marriage, right? Yeah. Maybe this is the year you're like, we've got to do something different. We are fighting all the time. We just don't have any connection, or we're living as roommates, or we're just two ships passing in the night, and we can't really connect except for the schedule and what's for dinner and who's picking up the kids and whatever. Or maybe you're an empty nester now, and you're just like, what are we doing? Like, we've raised our kids, and now I have to live with you. I don't even know you. We haven't spent any time together. We have not been intentional. Like, what can we do different? And so I think for married couples who really want to focus on their marriage for this new year, one thing is going to be really hard is if you have the mindset, well, my spouse isn't trying, so why should I? Forget it. It's just not going to matter, or it's no fair, or why does she always blame me, or why does he always say it's my fault, right? And it can seem like nothing will ever change, especially if you're in an unhealthy marriage where there's been some toxic patterns and there's been some blame shifting and there's not been accountability, or even that ability to hold each other accountable for the words you're saying to each other and that kind of thing. Right. And so if nothing is changing in your marriage, it could be that there is a core problem that you guys need to say, we're going to fix this, and we're going to fix it now. Because I feel like one of the biggest reasons that keep people stuck in their marriages is actually their mindset. And this is one of the things that we really work with our clients on, because we get locked into these old patterns and we make beliefs and meanings out of everything that happens. Well, he leaves his stuff around and he expects me to pick up, and he doesn't care that, I'm home with the kids all day. Or, he comes home, she doesn't appreciate how hard I work and the stress I'm under, and how can, I come home and all she does is nag me, and I just want to get away. And, and then we get locked into these beliefs like, well, he doesn't love me anymore. He doesn't value me. He doesn't think I'm pretty. I'm fat since the babies were born, or, and she can get locked into, he doesn't even, he's not paying attention, or he's not involved in the kids. And how come I have to do everything? And we can get locked into these mindsets of negativity
Yep.
And then it perpetuates what's going on in your marriage. And so,
Yes.
guys, if you want to make a change in 2022, you've got to change your mind. You've got to change your mind.
Absolutely. It's so huge. It's so huge. Every single couple we talk to, a huge part of it are the tapes that they're running through their head. What is their mindset? What are their beliefs? What are their beliefs about the other person? And let me just tie that in, guys. What it looked like for us is I felt like a failure in a lot of ways. And when our marriage wasn't clicking, she wasn't helping me to solve it, and I wasn't helping me to solve it. And I felt like a failure. And guess what? That became a self-fulfilling prophecy. That happens a lot, guys. That happens when only one person is locked into that place. That's actually contagious when you're feeling like a failure. And I know it probably was for you too. When I felt that way, it would be hard for you not to have felt that way because of the way our marriage looked and the way I was showing up. And so a lot of times those mindsets become self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah.
And if your hope to change it is, well, I really, really don't want to fight anymore. Well, you're destined to fail before you begin unless your mindset has changed.
Because again, with that mindset, what are you focused on? You're
Right.
focused on what you don't want. I don't
Right.
want to fight. I don't want to be disconnected. I don't want this. Guys, if you're focusing on what you don't want, guess what you're going to get more of?
Exactly.
What you don't want. You have got to shift your mind, your eyes, your focus, and especially your mindset.
Yes. So guys, we want to offer something that's far better than the resolutions, and that is setting goals. Goals they're so much more effective, so much more powerful. It sounds like it's a simple, subtle shift with a different word. Oh, they kind of mean the same thing. No, they don't. Goals allow for freedom. The goals are much more like, we're going to change the trajectory of where we're aiming. Resolutions are like, I have to be here and I have to be perfect. And if I don't, then just throw the baby out with the bathwater and it's done for. But if it's a goal, you're like, we're going to shift this focus and we're going to go this way. We might wander a little bit. We might get off. We might trip and fall. We might really disappoint ourselves, but that's okay, because our goal is we're now going to go here. And this is going to be much more effective if we're going in this direction.
Yeah, that's so good, Scott. And an example would be like in the health realm, like a resolution would be, well, I want to lose weight. Again, there's no energy behind that. It's nebulous. It's like, what does that mean? Well, how much weight and why do I want to lose it? And is the cheesecake okay? You know what I mean? There's no drive behind it. But a goal would be, I want to fit into my skinny dress by this summer so that I can go to my friend's wedding and look amazing. You know what I mean? So that's that goal. You have a timeline, you have a specific target that you're looking for, and there's some energy behind it, right? Because you're imagining that wedding day. You're going to imagine that you're not having to bend over the rolls as you bend down to, help your friend with her train or whatever. And so a goal, especially when you can tie the why into it, it can be so powerful.
Right.
So powerful. And writing them down is so key, right? Because when you write down your goal, you are so much more likely to achieve it than if you don't.
Absolutely. We actually have our clients write down their goals and look at them every single day, sometimes multiple times a day.
Yes.
Because writing them down and aiming for somewhere is a whole lot better than perfect or not. Aiming to go somewhere is the key to there being transformational growth in your life, because otherwise you might actually achieve some of the perfection, so to speak, for a while. It's not ever perfection, but you might even become legalistic if you are effective in that, if you're one of those 7% that make it a year. And that's a dangerous place to be too, if you're Mr. Legalist. So yes, goals, not resolution, is a much better way to look at things. Secondly, changing your mind. And I know that's easy to say, but hear me out here. If your belief is, I'm really, really going to try something, I'm really, really going to commit something, but in the back of your mind, you're probably going to fail. It's most likely there's going to be that day where it's like today. It's like a rainy, sleety, snowy, yucky day. Like, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to go out today because it's so nasty. I don't want to go to the gym. Or, things are maybe you're locked at home like we are with a new puppy in our house, and our kids are home from school and they're kind of not nice to each other because we're all at home, guys. If your belief is, I'm going to really try and I'm probably going to not get there, you're doomed to failure to begin with. But at the same time, if your belief is, I believe that change is really possible, that there can be change physically, there can be change emotionally, spiritually, getting those new habits locked in place, but seeing it, believing that there is a real possibility of moving the ship, that it's not perfection, that it's changing the direction,
Yes.
and that when we change the direction even just a little bit, we're steering now to a different place that we're going to end up. That can be really powerful. So believing it and seeing it in our hearts and minds, that real change is possible. Believing that it's possible and seeing it have to go hand in hand, and they are so critical for locking that in. Believing that there could actually be a difference in your marriage, actually a different situation in your home. Seeing that in your heart, your mind, believing it, that is 90% of getting there.
Absolutely. And that's where the power of transformational coaching can come in, because that's what we do with our clients is we help them to be able to change their mind, help them to be able to reframe the things that have happened,
Yes.
reframe how they see their spouse, how they even see the institution of marriage, right? And be able to reframe their relationship with God and how they think about why has he allowed this and what's awful about it or what's great about it, right? And so the power of transformational coaching can really, really help you if you're trying to fix your marriage and you're like, well, what do I do? Yeah, I can visualize something better, and yeah, I can write down a goal of I want to fix my marriage so that I can have a godly legacy, but how do I do it? How do I get there? And so that's where transformational coaching can come in and be a real big help.
Oh, it's huge.
Because what we do with our clients is we help them to basically take the lid off of what's possible and also help them to see the roadblocks that are there, help them to see the negative mindsets that they've had that have kept them locked in the bad patterns of fighting all the time or not truly sharing their heart or misunderstanding each other, and be able to truly now be able to see the best in each other and be able to communicate at that heart level and really not just have like an idea of what I wish this was better, because wishes are just about as good as resolutions.
That's
they
true.
don't do anything.
Magic wand. It
They
didn't
don't
work.
Yeah, they don't do anything.
Exactly.
But guys, we're here to tell you that change is possible. When you can change your mind, you can change your life.
Oh,
You
no
can
doubt.
change everything,
No doubt.
including your marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, if you're out there today and you're thinking, wow, that sounds good, I want to encourage you to book a free breakthrough call. You do that by going to turnaroundmarriage.com/call. Pick a time that works, fill out a short questionnaire. And what we do on that call is talk about what's not working in your marriage. But the beauty of this is that's not all we're going to talk about. That's what happens a lot of times when people seek out help. They talk about all the problems. That's okay. You need to know what's wrong. But we're also going to talk about where do you want to go? We're going to talk about the goals of where you hope this marriage could go. And if we can help you guys to bridge the gap and help you to get from where you've been to that goal, that dream of what you guys have prayed that this marriage could be, we're absolutely going to talk about what that would look like. We'll talk about the investment and what that would look like to help you guys to invest in your marriage so that it can stop being status quo, so that it can stop being like 3% of the people who quit on their New Year's resolutions, because they oftentimes are quitting in their marriages too. We'll talk about the goal of where this could possibly go and locking that in, not just for a few months or maybe making it for a year, but locking in that transformation for the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
Time well spent? I think so. Turnaroundmarriage.com/call, and hope to see you there.
Yep, absolutely. Happy New Year, everybody.
Until next time, Happy New Year and God's blessings to y'all.